Here we go. From Fox News, progressive journalist unleashes on liberal intolerance that drove her away from the Democratic Party. You've seen the story. We talked about it yesterday, but there is still some more here to talk about. They woke me up, Anna Kasparian said, about being lectured by liberals after getting sexually assaulted in 2022. Anna Kasparian, as the story goes, for those that didn't see the story yesterday, has published an article saying she's independent and unaligned. She has gone on, and of course she's on the progressive channel, The Young Turks, explained how she was sexually assaulted by a homeless man. When she complained about it, she got attacked by the left. She said on Twitter, "Please don't call me a birthing person. That's humiliating," and they attacked her for it. She goes on to say, instead of engaging with her arguments, they made out-of-context videos to insult and attack her and make money off them. Indeed, they did. And this is what the progressive left does on YouTube and other social media platforms. Anna, who I believe has absolutely participated in such things, is now a victim of it. "I didn't think the leopards were going to eat my face," says Seamus Coughlin the other night, talking about this. But as I've addressed much of this and read her letter, there is still some more to the idea of the left, leftists leaving the left and what the realization is. But the bigger question, I suppose, is outside of what Anna Kasparian's experiences are and where she will end up. We have losing the plot. This is a story from last year. The leftists who turn right. In these times, it's quite upset that there are people who are liberal and left-leaning who are saying you are a cult, you are insane. And I will tell you this. Anna Kasparian has a lot to learn. The more she goes on this journey of open-mindedness, she is going to be considered far right in a matter of minutes. The reason is, being right is not about your political ideology. It's about who you communicate with. Politics only flows in one direction. Here's an example. If there is a picture of me with a bunch of leftists, the left will say, let's say there's 5 Antifa, a group right here, and me standing next to them. They will say, all of those people cavorting with Tim Pool are far right, they're hypocrites, they're liars. If I stand alongside a bunch of conservatives and say, haha, that proves that Tim Pool's right wing. There's no circumstance where you can stand with leftists and they will call you left wing. It's always just their right wing now. Politics flows in one direction. So if Anna Kasparian starts talking with conservatives and saying, I disagree, and she says, I'm pro-choice, I'm critical of Israel, they're going to say, oh, she's far right because she's friends with Trump supporters, because she's entertaining their arguments. What happens then? She's going to start to learn things and she's going to change her political opinions because the left doesn't care about facts. They really don't. So as she's on this journey, let's talk about the others who are leaving the left, and I'm here for it. I can see right there they bring up Max Blumenthal. Oh boy, Max. What a lefty. And we've had him on the show. I'm not sure if we've had him on twice or once, but he's great. It's funny when he's like, I got to defend Trump on some of this foreign policy stuff I do. And I'm like, I got you. It's true. It's not that it's a fact. When you see libertarians say, well, Trump foreign policy was better than the rest of them. Is it just libertarians going far right? Leftists going far right? Here's what they write. How to name the rude currents eroding the left. Those which have claimed the hearts, minds, and Substack so many former friends and fellow travelers. There are the journalist provocateurs and the readers who have followed them rightward. The Trumpers come lately marching onto Glenn Greenwald's rumble or vanishing into Max Blumenthal's gray zone. There are those not quite there yet, such as Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks. Oh, she's there now. Currently mourning the leftism, she now believes gaslit her about a crime wave it refuses to admit. I'm going through some very, very real and sincere disaffected Democrats podcast in July, and it's uncomfortable. It is indeed. Consider the dislocation that flickers across the face of journalist Matt Taibbi in interviews this summer for the conspiracist right-wing Epoch Times. Acclaimed by the left-wing during Occupy Wall Street as a scourge of corporate power, Taibbi is best known for his years at Rolling Stone. When the day eventually comes, the, quote, vampire squid relentlessly jamming its blood funnel into anything that smells like money, Taibbi's unforgettable embodiment of Goldman Sachs in a 2010 article will haunt his obituary. No, it won't. Because Matt Taibbi's opinions haven't changed. Y'all are just a deranged cult. I just recently talked to Matt Taibbi. It was fun. He was criticizing John Kerry, saying the First Amendment is in the way. And I responded with what was black ooze pouring out of his mouth as he was speaking. And then Matt, much to my honor, said, can I use that on stage? I was like, absolutely. It's an honor and a privilege, good sir. I know, Matt. I was at Occupy Wall Street, too. Oh, there I said it. Matt Taibbi still is critical of corporate power, big pharma, government mandates on medication, and the left is like, we're fine with that. When did y'all start suckling the teat of big corporations, dude? Yeah, and we're the ones who lost our minds? Well, Taibbi insists his politics haven't changed, and they haven't. An oddly conservative way to insist one hasn't become conservative. His surroundings certainly have. Weaving a velvety brown jacket, jeans, and his default smirk, he sat for his Epic Times interview at the Libertarian Freedom Fest conference. This year, in addition to Taibbi, it featured as speakers presidential candidates RFK Jr., an independent, who's a Democrat, Vivek Ramaswamy, a Republican, along with Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat, united in their contempt for wokeness. Epic Times' Jan Jekielek appointed Taibbi an American thought leader. Indeed he is. Let's go. They're just going to keep ragging on Matt Taibbi. Consider the case of David Horowitz, once a founding sponsor of this magazine, more recently author of Blitz, Trump Will Smash the Left and Win. Or after him, Christopher Hitchens, whose knowledge of Iraqi Baathism led him after 9/11 to align first with U.S. neocons and ultimately with the very kind of religious nationalists he so long derided. We might mark 9/11 as the moment when many who believed they were for peace give in to the notion that it can only be won through war. How about this? Trump is the anti-war candidate. He is. Kamala Harris is the pro-war candidate. They say, but the present left-to-right acceleration began in earnest with the onset of Trump. There are the intellectuals in exile, the scholars who once contained complaints about free speech or diversity initiatives metastasized into broad contrarianism that found new patrons. There are the not-so-funny anymore comedians, once known for their left politics, Chappelle and Roseanne and Russell Brand, pulled rightward by jokes. I want to give a hearty shout-out to Russell Brand, who has gone so far right, he's Christian. I bet they cried over that one. I will stress, as I often do, I am not a Christian. But I am friends with many, and I respect the Christian beliefs or Jewish beliefs or whatever you want to believe. But the left cannot handle it. They lose their minds at the thought of someone finding Christ. Aw. It's funny because Russell Brand is still funny. Seamus Coughlin is ruthlessly funny, and he's Catholic, and I don't see what the problem is. We are the big tent party with RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, and y'all can keep crying about it. Uh-oh, here we go. There's the new right's very own Kennedy, Robert F. Jr. Of the bulging biceps, RFK Jr. may seem, with his campaign push-ups, little more than a joke to young leftists, but his history as a champion of intersectional environmentalism is long. And he is bringing this Make America Healthy Again environmentalist policy to Donald Trump's administration. You are a cult if you cannot recognize that Donald Trump bringing on RFK Jr. moderates his administration and gives us the environmentalism many of us wanted for so long. I am sick of the garbage in our foods. I am sick of the pesticides. I am sick of the chemicals. And so we got RFK Jr. now. Who do you have? Dick Cheney. Congratulations. I don't know if Max Blumenthal is going to be voting for Donald Trump, but when talking about war and conflict, he's even in agreement with us and we with him. Let's bring the real unity party together. But these people can't handle it. Why? Oh, no, Roseanne is right-wing now. Oh, no, RFK Jr., Russell Brand. Dave Chappelle hasn't changed a bit. He was ragging on Candace Owens. But he makes fun of your crazy ideas because you're a cult. And I am here for it. This is cathartic. I left the left or whatever, right? I never did a video where I said I'm leaving the left or anything like that. Because, I don't care to say anything like that. But of course, I'm not on the left. I've been hypercritical of them because they're a cult. But my views on policy and morality and government function are still moderately liberal. Conservatives recognize it. But I've explained it this way. We used to have, let's call this big sphere that is the United States culture. And within it, you had the left and the right and the moderates in between. At some point, there was a malignant bump just growing on it. Or budding occurred. That's what we call it, budding, when it starts growing off and then flops off. This is the left, isolated in its entirety from the core structure of the American political community. That is to say, I'm actually a liberal. Ben Shapiro, actually a conservative. We recognize that of each other, and we get along really, really well. And our conversations are cordial. And, last time I talked to Ben a couple weeks ago, he says, I think you and I disagree on some foreign policy stuff. And it's like, how simple is that? And then there's the left. Fall in line or else we will destroy you. But you know what? cut off from the rest of us. It's withering away. Bye-bye, Dick Cheney. Join sides with these individuals. This is what they're lamenting. Horseshoe theory, the horseshoe hour. Jimmy Dore, once another left comedian who lost hold of the joke, now marvels over as meeting the minds of Tucker Carlson. We should do a show together called the Horseshoe Hour. When Jimmy Dore, who's economically left, has a good conversation with Tucker, that's called the Unity Party. That's us, my friends. So what do they say? As they complain, they cry, and they whinge. They lost everybody. I mean, Naomi Wolf they bring up. Look at this. Bye. All that's going to happen, more and more, the left is going to lose people who wake up. You know, there are a lot of people that I know, I don't want to call them out directly, but they've had awakenings recently. There's one person I've known for a long time, and they would just post anti-Trump stuff, and I never bothered them over it. I'd interact sometimes. I'd say, well, what about this? One day, I see a post from them. Trump. Wow. I knew somebody who was a BLM activist marching for Black Lives Matter. Leftist. One day, she's posting, Trump must win. And I was like, you too? Wow. Because people are waking up. You're allowed to be critical of Trump. You're allowed to be offended by Trump. But you recognize he's got a better job. He's going to do a better job. You recognize Tulsi Gabbard, Elon, RFK Jr., we got the Unity Party that we were begging for. So let them cry. But the left cult is breaking and they're losing their minds over it. Look at this. The hand reaching to fire. Please. I'll wrap this one up there, my friends. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share the show with everyone you know. Share it. It really does help. And you can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. You can become a member at timcast.com. More to come. Oh, man, you're going to love this one. CBS anchor got put through the struggle session for daring to question woke Ta-Nehisi Coates. You work for the corporate press, what you get. This one from the Daily Wire. For everybody watching, those segments will be up later, but we are going to have your super chats now live. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on the next segment.